Hi, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Michelle Stern. Well, folks, it's been a long time. And here we have light now, but I am not at home. I'm actually elsewhere visiting with family. So, the drama now with Buju and his stove. Question is, the man says send stove to Jamaica, and now he's saying the stove was apparently stolen. Then Minister Vaz came out quickly, as he has been doing, to debunk whatever it is that he says that aren't true, or to make some clarification. In this case, he went and did some quick investigation to find out. You can't have a big man like Banton things being stolen, man. No, sir. That don't look good. So he went and he investigated. And he provided footage. So where we were saying that there may not be any cameras at the airport, apparently there are. And he also quizzed the customs broker as well as the customs officer who would have entered the items into the country. Now, let me go into my memory now. When you ship items to Jamaica, you have to have what is known as a commercial invoice. And you also have to have the invoice, and and I do believe there is the shipping documents which itemizes what is in the shipment. And that document is known as a packing list. Now, if my memory serves me right, the customs broker, if you use a customs broker, he can actually start the process once he has all the information about what was sent on the ship's manifest. He can begin the process of entering the goods into Jamaica. But there is a matter now of the assessment by customs of the market value of whatever it is that is being sent. Now, if you have an invoice and the prices look reasonable, they'll simply use what's on your invoice. If they think it's not, then they will do their own assessment and come up with what they believe is the market price. That happens a lot in motor car. So just a little background to that. So we don't know if the customs broker for Buju had entered the items prior before they come in here. If that was done, and the customs would then simply take the documents from them, check off what is on the list, see as much as what they can, and enter. They can search or they may choose not to search. And I imagine the customs broker must have told the customs officer that these items are coming from the big man himself. And so he may have chosen not to search, but he has an entitlement to search, because I would suggest that they be very careful about some of these things coming in. And if it's coming from reputable people, I'm sure we have nothing to worry about. If it's coming from persons you don't know, I don't care who it got to and what for what reason. Check and make sure we're in there, because there are some persons very clever of a criminal mind who may slip some things into the barrel and claim say something else in it. So I am quite sure that they must be doing some checks, or ought to be doing some checks on some items coming in, but it may be random. Anyway, the long and short of it is, based upon what we heard, is that Buju raised the alarm and he said that there were something like 2 barrels or something like that that were half empty, that he sent a stove and the stove was stolen, and some Starlink equipment and all manner. So, what is interesting though is that the shipping documents that was produced to do with the shipment did not state that there was a stove or any Starlink equipment. So it leaves Buju now to go and check if he did send them off to be packaged and sent to Jamaica. What happened to them? It was not on the list. So did they leave the United States or not? That is something he would have to check. Now, I imagine he would have gotten a documentation from his side showing the packing list of items that were shipped, the manifest. Did the stove come by itself on a different sheet? Right? We don't know. He needs to provide more information. Now, let us assume that he had indeed sent the stove and the Starlink equipment to be shipped with the other items, and they were left off the list. And somehow, the customs officers in the United States, or wherever it's coming from, fail to notice that it is not on the list and put it on the airplane and send it to Jamaica. What would happen when our customs buck it up out here? And somebody should send this to Buju, because if Buju has it and it is proven that the stove was sent, he wants to know where's the stove. I think I might be able to provide you with a little clue, Buju, if you don't mind me butting in. If an item should arrive in Jamaica without any documentation, remember now, the customs are not mind readers. What they will do, they'll see this thing entering from a ship or a plane. So what do they do with it? It has no documentation to say who it belonged to, you know, where it's coming from, and who it's supposed to be going to. So in that case, what would happen to that stove? It would be detained by the customs. That's what they would do. So here's what I'm going to suggest. You contact the customs and ask them, beg them to please. We know them busy, but you sent this and it's for, relief, and, the people need it. So if they would do you a little favor, and they will do it for I put your name, you're big, not this thing. So ask them kindly, send them the invoice. That's the first thing. Send them the invoice with the serial number and so on. And they will go into the warehouse, because there can't be all that many stoves that would have been detained, and check, first of all, in them system to see if they had detained a stove. And then you go check the serial number and realize that then we come tell you that yes, we have it. If it comes in without documentation, it's going to be detained. The detained means it's not entered into Jamaica. It's as if it's still upon the plane or the ship, enter. Once you send them that invoice and they locate it in the warehouse, then they will tell you it's there. And then they will tell you what to do now to have it cleared. You have a customs broker, they will take care of it for you, right? So chances are that stove is detained by customs. It has no owner, no documentation, nobody where it's coming from, nobody to whom it's going to, and therefore they have no option more than to detain it. And they can't inform anybody, because they don't know where this stove come from, except that it was on a flight. You understand? Yes, so that is a little clue. So check there and check and see if the Starlink equipment is there too. If it is not, then you need to contact your agent. And I'm talking about the freight forwarder who would have arranged the shipment for you. You need to contact them and find out what happened. Let them do a trace. Very likely it can end up somewhere else. You follow, anything can happen. So check that out. But my guess is, if your contacts, your shippers said it was indeed on that flight, but it's not on the documents that were presented, and it landed in Jamaica, the customs has it as detained. Then I know if you own, because there's no documentation to say who it belonged to. You follow? So check that out. That is my little two pence worth right there. So now let us deal now with the other things that Buju said. He said he would, remember now, he's not here. My understanding, he's not here. He sent these items. Very kind of you, by the way, Buju. We appreciate it, and you never had to do it. You did it because you wanted to do it. right? You love your people and them in stress and you wanted to do something for them. And I, for one, appreciate it, and I'm sure they all do too. Yes, we do. And what happened then, if indeed what you were told was true? Because bear in mind, Buju, bear in mind, that is a very important part of the question. Was what you were told the truth? Let us assume that it was. Now, who was it that told you that the barrel came half empty of stuff and the stove missing? Well, the stove would be missing because it wasn't there. That would be the truth. Now, was it the truckers who received the item, or was it the person at the final destination told you that these items came in and the barrel was half empty? Now, you saw the pictures that was put out. You need to get hold of them and ask your shippers, wherever you ship from. The items were packed on pallets, so I imagine they would have been the one to have done so. Ask them to confirm whether or not these the whatever they put on it, the shrink wrap, if after them ship wrap that, they must look at it, and they would have cameras which put them there and see if there's any change at all to the packaging. If they say no, there is no change, then it means the government was correct. It went into the truck just as it came into the island. If, on the other hand, there were changes, send the information to Daryl Vaz, make him do some more checks. You understand? Yes. Now, let us assume there were no changes, which meant that the customs broker, they said, confirmed what the customs officer said. And by the way, the customs broker, for those who may not know, they are licensed to clear items over a certain value. You have to go through them, I believe, in order to clear items over a certain value, and them charge you a little fee. So the customs officer, of course, is the one that works with government, that does the checks and the assessment and sign off to have the goods entered so you can get it on your truck and whatever and go about your business. Now, if the items came in and it is true that it was not touched, come in them yourself, Buju, wow, Buju, send it through. Then the question is, how did it arrive at the final destination? With half empty barrels. Only two possibilities. It could be the truckers that would have tampered with it along the way. If they did not, and they have witnesses or photograph or anything to show that when they delivered, it was delivered as they got it from the airport, then you need to question those people now who received it. So it had to be one of them, right? The person who received it claimed that it came half empty when it was not. So you need to go do some more investigation. Yes, that's what you need to do, Mas Buju, and find out what a go on. Now, if indeed it came half empty, they said they received the goods just as you see Dariva said, then the question is now, which part in the process did the item went missing? Well, it's possible that it could have happened right there. Not that them thief it, we now make assumption about people about those things. What could happen is that maybe things are come through the airport for Jamaica when they get mixed up. So you have to go do a trace and make them show you proof that them load up the thing on the plane and send it to Jamaica. And then now, if it moved from the plane to the truck, I don't see what opportunity customs would have had to lift anything. So you have some work. And I know, Buju, you're a decent fellow. And if you find you make a mistake, you are the first one going to come out and say you're sorry and apologize. But if you can apologize, remember, if you apologize to the airport people, then because you do them bad, not to say they're not thief, But when a man do something Yes, when a man thief is one thing, but you see, if him not thief, him a go feel a little way. So me know you're gonna make it up to them, right? Yes. So that is what I have to suggest. The stove and the Starlink, it is possible that it never leave or it get mixed up. If it came in and there is no documentation with it, in other words, they pack up everything on it and somehow forgot to put the stove and the Starlink thing on the manifest, the customs going don't have no documents for it, then when they detain it. So go and go check with customs and see how it work out. Mm? Yes, that is my little two pence worth. And I want to thank everyone and you, Mas Buju. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope you find the stove. And do, if you have and feel like you want to do anything else for our people, we love you and we appreciate it very much. Thank you. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Somebody, please, if and Buju rub shoulders, send this to him so that he can get a little suggestion and hope him can find the stove because boy, somebody could do well with it. Yes. Okay, folks, that's all for me today. I am very happy to be back, if even briefly. And yes, my light come back, so you should be hearing from me a little more often. And therefore, as I said before, thank you for joining me today. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.